Hey, welcome to World Code Updates. Subscribe and press the bell icon for more updates. This morning, Washington, D.C. was rocked by breaking news. The Supreme Court struck down the Trump-era tariffs on steel and aluminum, a cornerstone of the previous administration's America First trade policy. These tariffs had fueled years of economic friction and international tension. Now, with a single judgment, the legal foundation for that policy has crumbled, sending shockwaves through the economy and beyond. Outside the Supreme Court, reporters clamored for statements as lawyers for both sides reacted, some relieved, others deeply disappointed. Lawmakers quickly issued statements, split along party lines. Supporters of the ruling called it a win for free trade and a necessary check on executive power. Critics warned it could open the floodgates to cheap foreign metals, threatening American industries and national security. For everyday Americans, the impact is real. The price of cars, homes, and manufactured goods could change, as could job prospects in steel towns and factories. This isn't just a legal technicality, it's a major economic event that will reshape the landscape for families and businesses. The story is just beginning, and the nation faces a period of transition and uncertainty in trade policy. The Supreme Court's decision marks a pivotal moment in the ongoing debate over presidential power and the future of U.S. trade. The consequences will ripple through supply chains, businesses, and international relationships. As the dust settles, the country must grapple with what comes next. The ruling is a turning point, not just for trade, but for the balance of power in American government. The next chapter in U.S. trade policy starts now. The Supreme Court's decision is historic because it directly limits presidential power in trade and national security. The court ruled that the executive overstepped by using Section 232 of the 1962 Trade Expansion Act to impose broad tariffs without clear evidence of a direct national security threat. The majority opinion stressed that the president's authority is not unlimited and must be grounded in law. This sets a higher bar for future tariffs, requiring concrete proof of a genuine threat to defense capabilities. The ruling is a victory for businesses and industry groups who argued the tariffs were illegal protectionism, not true national security measures. This decision not only ends the current tariffs, but also reshapes the legal landscape for future trade actions. To understand today's ruling, we need to revisit 2018, when the Trump administration invoked Section 232, a Cold War-era law meant to protect national security. The administration claimed that imported steel and aluminum threatened the U.S. industrial base, justifying sweeping tariffs. These tariffs hit not just rivals, but close allies like Canada and the EU, sparking outrage and confusion. The move triggered a global trade war, with countries retaliating against American goods. Businesses faced chaos, as supply chains were disrupted and costs soared. Critics argued the national security claim was a pretext for protectionism, noting that military needs for steel and aluminum were minimal. Legal challenges quickly followed, with opponents calling the tariffs an unconstitutional overreach. After years of courtroom battles, the Supreme Court has now ended this chapter, declaring the tariffs unlawful. The decision closes a contentious era and forces a new approach to trade and national security. The legal fight over Section 232 has fundamentally changed how such powers can be used. The ruling is a clear message. Economic policy must be rooted in law, not just executive declaration. The trade war's legacy will shape U.S. policy for years to come. The world is watching how America moves forward. The Section 232 debate was a clash of two worldviews. Supporters argued the tariffs were vital for national security, ensuring the U.S. could produce essential materials for defense and manufacturing. They saw tariffs as a shield for American jobs and industrial strength, even if it meant higher consumer costs. Opponents, a coalition of manufacturers, farmers, and free trade advocates, saw the tariffs as economically damaging and legally dubious. They argued that for every job saved in steel, many more were lost in industries relying on steel and aluminum. Costs rose for automakers, construction, and even brewers, hurting profits and consumers. Critics said the national security claim was a fiction, especially since tariffs hit close allies. Retaliatory tariffs from other countries hurt American exporters, especially farmers. For them, the tariffs were a self-inflicted wound, not a shield. The Supreme Court's decision sides with economic reality over broad claims of security. The ruling forces a more targeted, evidence-based approach to trade protection. The debate over balancing security and economic health is far from over, but the era of blanket tariffs is at an end. The Supreme Court's ruling is a powerful statement on the separation of powers. It redraws the boundaries of presidential authority in trade, clarifying that Congress's delegation of power is not unlimited. The court emphasized that only a direct, demonstrable threat to national defense can justify such extraordinary measures. Future presidents must now build stronger, evidence-based cases for tariffs, restoring a critical check on executive power. The decision shifts trade policy back toward Congress, encouraging more deliberative, stable lawmaking. It reaffirms that the rule of law stands above even the highest office. The end of the tariffs will ripple through the U.S. economy, starting with consumer prices. For years, tariffs acted as a hidden tax on cars, appliances, and countless goods. With tariffs gone, manufacturers will see lower costs, and competitive pressure should gradually lower prices for consumers. Small businesses like craft breweries may finally see relief in their margins. The construction industry stands to benefit, with lower steel prices making projects more viable and creating jobs. Manufacturing will become more competitive at home and abroad. However, price drops won't be immediate. Supply chains are complex, and some companies may pocket savings first. Over time, the ruling acts as a broad tax cut for consumers and businesses. The economic boost could be significant, but the transition will take time. The decision sets the stage for renewed investment and growth. The impact will be felt in wallets and workplaces across the country. While many celebrate, the U.S. steel and aluminum industries now face tough competition. Tariffs had shielded them, allowing for investment and job growth. With that protection gone, domestic producers must compete with cheaper, often subsidized imports. The fear is that prices will fall, profits will shrink, and jobs could be lost. Unions warn that recent gains could be reversed. The government may respond with targeted support, like anti-dumping measures or direct investment, to help these industries adapt. The focus will likely shift to innovation and high-value products, not blanket protectionism. The challenge: foster real competitiveness without repeating past mistakes. The future of American steel and aluminum depends on smart, sustainable policy. The industry's survival now hinges on adaptation, not tariffs. The Supreme Court's decision is a major event on the world stage. For years, the tariffs strained relations with key allies who saw them as unjustified and unilateral. Lifting the tariffs opens the door to a diplomatic reset and renewed cooperation. Retaliatory tariffs will likely be lifted, benefiting U.S. exporters, especially farmers and manufacturers. The ruling paves the way for deeper alliances to tackle real global trade challenges, like China's non-market practices. It also signals renewed U.S. commitment to international rules and institutions like the WTO. Trust in the global trading system can begin to rebuild. The decision marks a shift from conflict to collaboration. As the dust settles, experts agree. This is a profound recalibration. For the U.S. legal scholars see it as a triumph of checks and balances, reinforcing that presidential power must be grounded in law. Economists predict lower inflation and a boost to growth, though steel and aluminum communities will need targeted support. Trade experts call it a chance to rebuild alliances and pursue smarter, fairer trade policies. The goal is not naive free trade, but strategic, balanced engagement. The decision restores balance between government branches and between domestic and global interests. The path forward requires rebuilding trust, supporting workers, and crafting competitive trade policy. The turmoil is real, but so is the opportunity. American trade policy now has a chance to be guided by law, collaboration, and long-term vision. The future of U.S. trade begins with this ruling.